Eileo guys, and welcome back. And in today's video, we'll be taking a look at Mirra, which is our newest exotic. I'm super duper stoked for this, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So yeah, the reason why I'm super duper stoked for this is because there hasn't been a new exotic in quite a while. Yes, I understand that Eve just came out as our anniversary Astromon, but that's a guarantee that after a year that we'll always get at least one new exotic. But for the past, it's always been a Eileo, who is just highly outdated at this point. She still works, but if you're like even kind of mid-game-ish to you know getting towards the late game, you don't need her, so she's absolutely useless. So I'm super duper excited to have Mirra here, but I figured right before we get into the actual review of the Astromon, there's this little 20-second clip over here on Smart Studies YouTube channel that I haven't watched yet, and I figured I would just share it with you guys. So let's go ahead and take a look at this really quickly. So there's Eileo, totally just massacred all of them. It's like, bro, Jack's dead. And then Mirra's on a scooter. Like, I want to play a MSL. I don't know why Mirra's on a scooter though. I mean, design-wise though, I think Mirra looks awesome. It's just super duper huge. But yeah, that's what I want to share with you guys right before we get into it. So let's go ahead and take a look at Fire Mirra here, who is the tank type. And Fire Mirra is sitting at 36k HP, 1.7k attack, and then 1.7k defense. It's a Nat 3, plenty of HP up there. The attack and defense obviously leave much to be desired, but you can't have everything in this beautiful bright world, can we? But let's take a look at the skills though. So for Mirra's 3-star skill, there's Barb Taunt, which grants 80% chance to draw the enemy's attention for 1 turn. And then it also has Adrenaline, which restores allies' HP in amount of equal to 10% of its own max HP. And it is an AoE target, and it does have a death blow lead as well, so very interesting here. As a Nat 3 in itself is nothing super duper like extravagant, but I think with the Nat 3 League there could be some potential here. We can see with books that Barb Taunt gets a 15% damage increase and it goes to 90% for 2 turns, which is pretty chunky. And you know, a 36k HP stat base is acceptable as a Nat 3. And then Adrenaline sadly doesn't get any boost in its potency, but it is what, I mean, 25% more damage increase, but as a tank type that affects literally nothing at all. It's not going to do any damage anyways, so I think it's fine. It's not super duper like, oh my goodness, this is super duper OP. Is it usable? I mean, if you want a fire defender type mon during the Nat 3 League season, then feel free to give it a try. I mean, I think it's okay. Alright then, moving forward though, we do have Water Mirra, who's an attacker type, coming in with 24k HP, 2.9k attack, and then 2k defense. Once again, Nat 3. But almost 3k attack stat, I'll give it that. HP is pretty, you know, pretty normal. Defense is kind of low, so in terms of it taking damage, it's not really meant to take damage. It's pretty much only meant to deal with some type of damage here. But let's go ahead and take a look at the skills real quick. So for its 3-star skill, it has Lethal Strike, which greatly increases the attack power in proportion to the target's total defense. And then for its 5-star skill, it has Hunter, which increases critical hit damage by 30%. So my thoughts with this as well is, obviously I'm not sure how practical it is in a PvE situation unless we're talking maybe about the Elemental Tower of Chaos. But other than that, I mean, it's something that you could build up for fun, which I might just do in itself. But if you lean more towards the Nat 3 League, this could potentially be kind of fun. I mean, I can't really think of that many Firemons that are defense aggressors, but not even fighting a Firemon in general, it's nice that we have access to Lethal Strike that's not on a Nat 5. So I'm curious to see how well Mirra would perform in a Nat 3 League, and I think it's overall a good idea. I mean, the Hunter is fine too, 30%, but let's take a look at the books real quick here. So Lethal Strike is 20% damage increase, then Hunter goes up to 40% with a 20% damage increase as well. So that definitely does make Hunter a lot better than what it is, but even though it does have Hunter, with it being an RGB, it is going to lack that additional crit damage that a Darkmon would have. But still, in a Nat 3 League situation, could be interesting. I'm not going to say a game changer, but could be interesting, and is a very easy way for us to experiment a little bit more with Lethal Strike without too much investment. But other than that, I can only think of maybe the Elemental Tower of Chaos, and if there's somewhere else where there's a whole bunch of defense, you could probably bring good old Water Mirror in there and see what happens. But yeah, I think it's once again fine. And then moving forward though, we do have Wood Mirror, who's a defender type, coming in with 27k HP, 2.1k attack just about, and 3k defense. 3k defense, I mean, once again, it's a nat 3. I'm not going to be too critical of it. HP is like an attacker-ish range, slightly over there, closer to balanced more than anything. And with the 2k attack stat as a defender, it's not really meant to do damage, so I can't complain too much. So it'll do. But let's take a look at the skills though. So for the 3-star skill, it has resistance down, which grants a 100% chance to reduce the enemy's resistance for 2 turns, which is super duper great if you want to get some crowd control moves off, like stunning, sapping, shock, etc. And then for its 5-star skill, it has petrification, which grants an 80% chance to petrify a target for 1 turn. So you may or may not know where I'm going with this already. I think the 3-star skill is perfectly fine, having another resistance down mon that is hopefully easy accessible, even though this is an exotic, so it's not going to come around super duper often. But then you pair it up with petrification, and congratulations, you played yourself. Like I've said this time and time again in the videos, my thoughts on petrification is just an absolutely useless skill. The only time it actually works on a mon, in my opinion, is for water purse, and that's because it's literally water purse. Petrification is purely a stall tactic, but there's nothing in terms of Wood Mirror that's going to bring anything to the table. So I don't think petrification is just a good skill at all. So this one's already probably the weakest one out of the bunch. But let's take a look at the skill books here. So resistance down gets a 25% damage increase. Petrification receives a 20% damage increase, and it goes to 90% for 1 turn. So still, there's no extension on the turns. I don't know why you would want it extended. But with nothing being able to act through petrification, I don't think there's any reason for you to even think about building this, because let's say for instance you built this on a defensive team for the Nat 3 League because, you know, you got the currency to do so. Depending on Mirra's timing, if Mirra gets petrification off and your other mons act after Mirra, well, congratulations, they've just been totally wasted, because they're going to do literally no damage to the enemy, and the enemy's just going to end up clapping those cheeks. So I don't think it's that good. I mean, if you need a cheap and easy resistance down mon and you just literally began the game, you can try and go for it, but this one's just going to be an Astro Guide Andy for me. Alright though, and next though, we have Light Mirror, who's an attacker type, coming in with 28k HP, 3.3k attack, and 2.3k defense. This one's actually a Nat 4, so I could be a little bit harsher up there on it. HP is okay, attack's over 3k, 2.3k defense set, pretty normal. So yeah, I'm good with the whole stat allotment on that one as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at the skills. So for its 3-star skill, it has Curse, which has an 80% chance to inflict 3 curses on an enemy for 2 turns. And then for its 5-star skill, it has a 90% chance to inflict 2 types of curses on an enemy for 2 turns. Pretty good duration. I think that 3-star skill is pretty smiley face too. 3 curses on an enemy for 2 turns. And if you guys are new to the game, do remember that Curse scales off purely on attack. So if you're going to build a Curse mon, you wouldn't do crit rate attack, you would do triple attack instead. If you can get crit rate from subs, that's great for raising its base damage, but Curse, to my knowledge, crit rate has no effect on Curse. I'm just saying, it has no effect on it. So don't think you have to, oh, I have to do crit rate attack on this bad boy, girl, or mouse, or whatever. You don't have to. But obviously, Curse is better in a more Curse-oriented setup. I do use some Curse in Clan vs. Clan because I do have Dark Hades, and it's pretty fun to mess around with. And I do think Light Mirror is the first Light Mon with Curse, so that's pretty interesting here. Once again, something that is possibly fun to play around with, but in practicality, I'm not so sure how well that would perform, unless it's also in like an Elemental Tower of Chaos situation. Now there, we might have some money going on here, so I'm definitely interested to see how well Mirra would perform in that situation. But the 3-star Curse gets a 25% damage boost, and it goes up to 90% for 3 types of Curse for 2 turns, I do believe. Yep, 2 turns. And then for its 5-star skill, Curse just gets a 30% damage increase, which is fine because it's an AoE, meaning it's going to be weaker than the single target one, but that's always nice. So I think it's a decent Curse mon. And I forgot, maybe it was Jackish or someone else on the Discord. They were like, dude, since this is like a mummy mouse, one of these mons literally have to have Curse in it. Like, it wouldn't make sense for it not to have Curse in it. And congratulations, whoever said that on the Discord, you were correct. Alright, then last but not least, we do have Dark Mirra here, who's an attacker type coming in with 27k HP, 3.3k attack, and 2.4k defense. So pretty much just the same as the light one. Slightly less HP, slightly more defense, but in the grand scheme of things, I think it's pretty much just the exact same. So let's go ahead and take a look at the skills over here. So for its 3-star skill, it has SP Siphon, which attacks Siphon 25% of the enemy's SP, so that's a good amount right there. And then for its 5-star skill, it has Attack Up, which as we can see here, increases your attack power by 50% for 2 turns. So already, I'm thinking that this is going to be a solid PvP mon. I'm not going to say it's the latest and the greatest and the be-all of everything, but with a Deathblow lead and SP Siphon and Attack Up on the squad is a very interesting mix, because not only am I able to apply basically crowd control to whatever that I'm fighting, but if you don't try and kill me, then I'm going to get Attack Up on the squad as well. And with it already being naturally an attacker type, even though it doesn't benefit from the Nat 3 League, you have an easy / reliable way of getting Attack Up off. So I think this one is actually pretty interesting and pretty much free as well. I mean, a square slot isn't needed. Obviously that would help if you're in on crit rate attack, but you can still kind of build around this mon. So I think this mon does have some potential in a PvP situation if you don't really care about PvP. Obviously you can use it in a PvE situation anywhere you guys need like a SP Siphoner. Say for instance in Colossus, I think, what is it, Wood Colossus I believe, you have to sap one of the units just to prevent it from buffing up the entire Colossus and the other 2 units including itself. But overall, I think this is a pretty solid mon, and it definitely does have some utility there, because even though it has Attack Up as its 5-star skill, that's not wasted because it's shared amongst your whole entire squad, and it also boosts up Mirra's damage as well. But let's take a look at the books real quick. So SP Siphon gets a 25% damage increase and it goes to 30%. That's pretty potent. And then Attack Up gets a 30% damage increase as well. So nothing super duper spectacular, but still decent damage in itself. But I would say that, yeah, that's pretty dope. Just to end the video off here though, I think all the mirrors are worth getting, especially if you are a player like me that captures for the Astra Guide. So I'm definitely going to try my best to get all of these mirrors to Evo 3. As always, I mean, there's some that are greater than others, and I think in this scenario it's pretty easy which ones are going to be a little bit better than the other ones, and that's going to be the Dark Mirra first in my opinion. What was Light Mirra's moves? Curse and Curse. You can pick up Light Mirra too, at least for the Elemental Tower of Chaos. At least that's where I'm thinking of using it at, but it's not super duper, like you don't have to have it, but it'd be interesting to have. If not, you could also maybe run it in clan versus clan depending on your player level and what mons that you have at your disposal. And then following the light one, I would say the water one actually to me is pretty interesting because of that lethal strike and hunter combo, meaning I can hopefully get some damage out of that bad boy or girl. And then after that it's going to be the fire one, and then the wood one in my opinion is obviously just the weakest. So dark, light, water, fire, and then wood. Feel free to leave in the comments below about what you guys think of Mirra. Do you like its design? Do you like its stat distribution? Do you like the skills? Do you have any areas where you think you might end up using your Mirra at? And if you're a newer player, like if you just began the game within the last month or a couple months in, a quick tip for you is if you really want to build the mirrors, but you know you can't build them all just because you don't have the mons capable of running stages as fast as possible, you can always run a stage on normal. Though if you're a newer player, I don't really recommend that. I recommend you staying on extreme if you can and kind of building up your mons and leveling them up ASAP. So the next time an exotic comes around, you're not in the same scenario of you wasting all your energy doing normal to catch mirrors when your count is so far behind. So if you are a newer player though, I would honestly just aim for a Dark Mirra. If you can Evo 3 the rest at some point in time, feel free to Evo 3 the rest, but I would at least aim for Dark Mirra. But yep, that's pretty much it. See ya.